Hi, hello, this is Haley and welcome to my video, or more like channel. It feels a little weird saying channel, I'm not gonna lie, and I should be used to being in front of a camera because I was a theater major. But then again, I was never on stage, so that's probably why I'm just a little weirded out right now. But I should probably just go right on ahead and just talk about what this video is actually about. And as you can see from the title, whatever it is, because I still haven't decided what I'm going to name this video right now. But this is about how I lost 156 pounds. Now, it wasn't something that happened fast. I think it was about 2-year span. And I mean, that's actually not slow either. That's a pretty fast progression into 156 pounds, but that's how I lost it. Now, I will be honest right now. I did gain some of it back, and I made a lot of excuses for myself. My favorite one is, it's water weight. My other favorite excuse to use was, oh, it's just bloat. It will go away. Really, girl? Really, bloat? Really? But that's not what this is about. This is not about that. This is about how I lost weight. Now, that's a whole different story, and we will get into that. But before we get into anything, I just want to explain how I even got to the point of needing to lose 156 pounds and then some, because 156 pounds was actually not where I wanted to stop. It's just where I ended up stopping. It's not a final destination, though. It's definitely not. I'm going to get back to there, and then I'm going to lose it again. But I just want to go on and just describe how I got to that point. I had been, I'm just going to say, fat my whole life, pretty much. I remember I was probably around 6 years old when I noticed that I was actually a little bit bigger than all the other little girls in my class. Not even just the little girls in my class, but the little boys in my class. And I went to my friend and I said, I'm fat. And she says, no, you're not. My mom thought you were cute. She saw your picture in the yearbook and thought you were cute. And I said, oh, okay, thank you. Because, you know, I'm cute. So what that was my thinking. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm cute. What should be everybody's thinking? You're cute, so what matters, right? But obviously, as the years gone by, my weight crept up. Now, I wouldn't say that I ate any different than my friends or my family. I just had a slower metabolism. In fact, I was a really active child. Me and my friend would run around the neighborhood. We'd ride our bikes. We'd walk around all the time. We were outside a majority of the day. We wouldn't come home until the streetlights came on. That was our thing. That's what we did. We roamed the neighborhood. It was a very safe neighborhood. Not anymore. But it was a very safe neighborhood. I even remember we would have dance parties when we had sleepovers. We would roam around all day in the neighborhood, and then we would go back to our house, eat pizza, and then have Britney Spears dance parties. That was our thing. We were really bad. Not the singing portion, just the dancing portion. We were really bad. And I think she can admit that too. We were not good at that. But that's what we did, and that's what I did. I was an active child. I just had a very slow metabolism. But I didn't actually see my weight balloon up until probably about when I was 9 years old. My family had ended up moving, and where we moved to, I really didn't have any friends. And I felt like a misfit. And because of that, I went through a depression. And you don't really think about children going through depressions, but that's what happened to me. And so by the time I came back to my hometown, I was 10, but I had already went up to 200 pounds. And I remember feeling so ashamed because, you know, people were like, oh, that little boy's 200 pounds. He's the size of a baby elephant, and which is not cool. These are not cool things to be said. But, you know, kids are cruel. They're not nice. And so they weren't talking specifically about me. They were talking about another little kid. But I felt that pain because I too was over 200 pounds. I even remember not calling them out. I loved them to death. But I remember my friend's mom would not let me on the top bunk of the bed because of my weight. And that makes sense. I get it. I was a big kid. I'm not upset at her for that. I understand that. But it is something that happened. And so after that, I just started dieting. And I had been yo-yo dieting since I was 10. Maybe even 9, honestly. I remember our first diet that we were even just remotely successful as a family was the Atkins diet. And actually the Atkins diet was good. I love bacon. But I was a 5th grader doing the Atkins diet, and my friends were not. You know how oppressive it kind of feels to be just a slave to weight loss at that age? It was sad. It was sad. I think about it now. I was sad. And I remember after that, we had lost weight. I actually lost 30 pounds. But I gained it back. Because that's usually what happens when you do fad diets. You usually gain it back. So after that, I had ended up doing some like medical diet. I don't even know. Till this day, I don't know the exact meaning of the medical diet. I just know, well, all I can remember is that for lunch, I ate a hot dog. No bun, just a hot dog and carrots. And I don't know any diet that would suggest processed meat, but that's what this diet called for. It was really weird. It was a weird diet. And then we did Weight Watchers. We actually went to meetings with Weight Watchers. And I was the only kid in the meeting. We tried curves because curves was actually across the street from us. So we tried doing curves. Still didn't work. And of course, I was the only kid doing this. I was just a slave to weight loss. I was just a slave to losing weight since I was that age. And no kid should actually have to worry about it. But I did because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. And even till this day, I'm still not very comfortable in my skin. I'm sure there were other diets that I did. I couldn't even begin to explain how many diets I was on. But, and I know that I did some of those off and on. I even remember at the age of, no, it was 15, going on to my 16th birthday, I had heard that my high school was doing High School Musical. And I really wanted to be Sharpay. I still want to be Sharpay. And so I wanted to lose weight. And I had explained that to my doctor, and he had prescribed to me these pills. I don't remember their name, and nor would I ever suggest them. But he prescribed these pills for me that helped me lose weight. And they did. They did a fantastic job. I lost about 30 to 40 pounds. They were hunger suppressants, and so I wouldn't eat as much. That was the thing. But I don't suggest doing that because I gained it back. And then some. But at that point, I had lost 30 pounds, 40 pounds, I think. I don't know. It was around there. And I felt good about myself. I felt real good about myself. I still wasn't where I wanted to be, but around that time, 30 to 40 pounds probably put me at 220. And I was happy. I was happy. But of course, I gained that back because as happy as I was to lose that weight, I got off those pills because my other doctor, she had ended up taking me off. She said she didn't want me on those pills. She didn't like me on those pills because they had addictive properties, and so she took me off. I'm glad she did. You know, I was upset at that moment, but right now I'm glad she did. And so I ended up gaining because, you know, I couldn't turn down those pizza hangouts and going to get hamburgers at Red Robin. And so I gained the weight back. And then my senior year, I had ended up getting diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. And so I actually ended up losing weight because my metabolism was just like fast. It was speedy. It was really fast. But of course I was really sick, but my metabolism was really fast. So I could eat whatever I wanted. At least that's the lie that I told myself, was that I could eat whatever I wanted. Because I had actually ended up losing about 20 pounds. So I'm like, oh, I can eat whatever I wanted. Now, I will say that me losing 20 pounds in my senior year of high school, I was about 280 pounds. So I lost 20 pounds. I was at 260. of course, because I was eating whatever I wanted, I kept gaining weight. And once we got my thyroid in check, I started gaining weight again exponentially because I was eating bad. I was eating really bad because I thought I could get away with it extra. I can get away with it a little more because I had the thyroidism. It wasn't there anymore, obviously. Duh. So I ended up gaining weight a little more. You'd think that logic would be with me, but it really wasn't at that point. So, about the time I was about 22, I had ended up skyrocketing to 315 pounds. Now, I will say before I got to that point, I was at 298. And at that point, I was so depressed, I gave up. I gave up all hope. I was like, I'm not going to lose this weight. This weight's never coming off. I'm never going to lose this weight. And so by that point in time, we decided that me and my family, and I didn't actually discuss it with my doctor because she's really into holistic medicine. And so she didn't want me to talk about the surgery. But we had decided maybe the surgery would be best. So I went in to discuss the surgery with the doctor, and they were like, oh, everything looks great. You look like the perfect candidate. You can totally get the surgery. But then they came in and they're like, but your insurance doesn't pay for dependents. And I was crushed. There was no way, absolutely no way that I could pay for that surgery on my own. I remember I was crying in the car ride home, and I was like, I'm not going to lose this. There's no way I can do it. And then there was this voice in me, and it said, this is your year. You're going to lose that weight. And so I agreed with it. I was going to lose this weight, and I was going to do it on my own. And I wasn't going to get the surgery because I couldn't. I would have, but I couldn't. And now I would like to let y'all know, One Direction saved my life. I'll be the first to admit One Direction was the reason that I wanted to lose weight. They were actually coming to my hometown the day before my birthday. And so I'm like, what better way to ring in my birthday than to be thinner and go to a One Direction concert? Because, you know, in my head, I thought, I'm totally going to be One Direction. I was in the same building as them, so that counts. But that was a main motivation. I'm not going to lie. Was a main motivation. Now, there were many other different reasons why. Oh, and it was before they broke up. So I got to see them before they broke up. Well, before Zayn left. Zayn. But back to the story. That was a motivation. Now, there were many other different motivations that I had, but that was a motivation. And so I started off slow. At that point, I wasn't driving because I had let my weight dictate so much of my life. I let it tell me who I was. And to me, I was somebody who was not worthy of growing up, basically. And so I wasn't driving, but I went to the gym with my dad. And so I would do maybe 45 minutes on the elliptical and then another 20 on the bike and the stationary bike. And so I did that, and then I started counting calories on my Fitness Pal. And there are a lot of things that I realized that I was eating that I thought, oh, I'm cutting back on, but I really wasn't. Like, I think the second day I had ended up going to McDonald's with my friend for breakfast, and I got the sausage biscuit because I'm like, oh, it's not that much calories. It's just a sausage and a biscuit. Not only was it a lot of calories, but it was a lot of sodium. It was like I was realizing things that I was eating that I thought I was actually cutting back on was actually doing more harm than help. And so using my Fitness Pal, I would recommend 10 out of 10. My Fitness Pal definitely helped me realize what I can eat, what I should eat, and what I shouldn't eat. And so after that, it was like fast. It started melting away. I started exercising probably 7 days a week, which is a ridiculous schedule, but I didn't want to stop because once I started, I was like a junkie. I was going for it. I was going at it. And I definitely watched what I ate a little bit more. I went from going to Chili's and eating salads that I thought were healthy, but they were actually 1,000 something calories. I went from going there to eating a black bean burger with broccoli for a side, and I actually ended up cutting off all sweets. I remember going to my god sister's, was it their 3rd birthday party, and they had this nice looking cake, beautiful cake. I didn't eat it, and till this day I'm so proud of myself. I did not eat that cake. I looked at it, it looked good, but I didn't eat it, and it really let me, or allowed me to know I do have the willpower. I always did. I just never utilized it. So I cut off sweets for probably about 6 months. I cut off actual fast food like chicken nuggets or fries. I cut that off until probably close to a year into my weight loss journey. Now, of course, it's unrealistic to say that as a college student, I wasn't going out to eat with my friends. I did. I just would eat the healthier options. Like if I went to McDonald's, I'd get the grilled chicken sandwich instead of getting the crispy chicken sandwich, that hot and spicy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And you know what? Speaking of Chili's, I could throw down a whole triple dipper. And I'm proud of that. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not proud of that, because I'm very proud of that. But you know, I couldn't do that anymore, and I can't do that anymore, and nor do I want to do that. And there's a lot of things that just changed in my eating habits. I took a lot of tips from, I know people hate Tumblr, but I took a lot of tips from Tumblr blogs that were devoted to weight loss and fitness, and I took a lot of tips from them, like, you know, drink some water after every bite. Because my stomach was enlarged, I was eating more than I had to. So I had to learn how to portion myself. Especially when you first start off, you're usually a little bit more hungry than you usually are because you're not eating as much as you usually do. And so I started off by just taking a sip of water after every bite. And then after a while, my stomach got trained to eat less. What other tips did I use? There was a lot of tips that I used. Looking at the menu of a restaurant before you go, instead of just going there, not starving yourself all day and then eating at that restaurant, because that's always a bad idea. It never should be done. I had learned a lot of tips, and I learned a lot of ways to help my eating. I even made grocery shopping lists. I was even taking into account exercising, when I would be able to exercise. So if I had a busy day in classes, I would say, okay, well, I need to wake up at this time in order to get some exercise in, or I need to make sure that I exercise late at night today in order to get my exercise in. And I didn't skip a day because I didn't want to. Like I said, it was rolling off. I think my first week of weight loss wasn't even a full week. It was from Wednesday to Monday, and I ended up dropping 10 pounds. And I was heavy. So, you know, I went from 1098 to 1088. I was a heavy chick, you know. I was a heavy girl. So, you know, it was easier for me to lose weight at that point. Now, I will admit, when One Direction came into town, when they came into town, I wanted to be more around under 100 pounds. It wasn't there yet. I wasn't there yet. I think by the time of my birthday, just realistically speaking, from February to September, obviously that wasn't going to happen. By the time of my birthday, I think it was around 220 pounds. And by that time, I ended up actually taking a class to get my Zumba license so I could teach Zumba. That was just something that I had actually put in on my goal sheet, because another tip that I had took is that we should not reward ourselves with food. Rewards should be clothing or makeovers or pedicures, or for me, a Zumba license. And so not only in that month did I go and see One Direction, but that next day afterwards, I had to get my Zumba license, which was amazing and awesome. And I loved it. It was so cool. It was a great experience. And I was so proud of myself. You know, I had went from 315 pounds. I had went from this girl that would never lose weight to a girl that was at 220. I was so close to 100 pounds. Well, being under 200 pounds, I was so close. I could taste it. I could taste it. And I knew that I was going to get there. I knew. I just had to keep pushing. And so I think it was within the next few months that I actually got there. I think it was before the year mark came around. The year mark for my lose weight anniversary. Before that February had came around, I had ended up getting down to around 190 something, and I was so happy. I literally had tears in my eyes because obviously I had not been under 100, I had not been under 200 pounds since I was 10 years old. I was stuck at 200 pounds since I was 10 years old. And it was just such a relief. And it was like it broke so much of that struggle that I had in me. And so from there, I kept losing weight. And I had even trained myself to run a 5K. I'm thinking about it now. I can't run anymore. I'm so lazy. I run like 5, 6 weeks. I'm dead. I'm tired. But after doing all of that, training, still watching what I'm eating, I had actually taken up a different job and I was working with children, so I was on my feet a lot. So I ended up losing a little bit more weight on top of that. And so by the time I dropped to my lowest, I was at 159. Now, what happened to get me to 159, because I was stable at 165, but what happened to get me to 159 was that I ended up getting sick. And so I dropped down to 159, my lowest weight ever. I can't even remember as a kid when I was 159, to be real honest with you. I was getting to the place where I wanted to be. My goal weight was 145 pounds. Not even 145. That would be my normal weight on the BMI chart. Normal weight. We'll get into that one day. But I wanted to be 135. That was my goal. It didn't happen because what happened after that is that I ended up moving. I had a lot of struggles when I moved, such as a car wreck, and depression took over, anxiety took over, laziness took over, and so I ended up gaining weight. And like I said before, I used all the excuses in the book. Oh, it's bloat. Oh, it's water weight. Oh, this happens to everyone who loses weight. Eventually, I was going to gain some weight back. And it does happen to quite a few people that you end up gaining weight. It's true. But those were excuses for myself. And I think I'm done using excuses because as comfortable as I am in this skin, as happy as I am where I'm at right now, I don't want to stay here. You know, I gained back. 159 was my lowest, and I'm going to be transparent with you and honest. 189 is where I'm at right now. That's not where I want to stay. That's not where I want to be at. I think I look great, but I want to look better. Just for myself. For my confidence, I want to be at 135. So that way, when I do, you know, eventually gain 10 pounds of weight, it's just 145. We're good. I'm still in the normal BMI chart. You know, I'm good. So that's mainly why I'm making this video. Not just to, you know, encourage people that it is possible to lose the weight on your own. And it's a struggle. It is. But to also let people know that, hey, it's a struggle. And I'm going to be dealing with this my whole entire life. It's more like I have a bad relationship with food. I'm codependent on it, but it's not an addiction. It's not an addiction. It was never an addiction. And I wouldn't even say I was an emotional eater. I just did not know how to eat well. Because I did not know how to eat well, I grew up eating a bad way. I grew up eating seconds and thirds of things that I didn't need. I didn't need all those servings of food. I ended up eating more than I had to because I didn't understand how to eat correctly. That was my problem. And now it may not be everybody's problem, but that was my problem. And I think a lot of people actually do go through it. We just don't realize that. But I want to document this last chapter of my weight loss because I think it's going to be the most important. During my weight loss journey, I learned a lot about myself and I gained a lot of confidence in who I was. But more than... Did you hear that car honk? I don't know if you heard it. Hopefully you didn't. Rude. But more than anything, I want to gain more of who I am. It was definitely a journey of self-discovery, as pretentious as that sounds. But I learned a lot about myself. And I learned how to be a better person. Not on the outside, but on the inside, I learned a lot about myself. And I feel like this last chapter of my weight loss journey is going to help me reveal a lot more and help me with my confidence. Because I'll be honest with you, when I lost weight and I had to navigate myself into society again as not Haley who was fat, but Haley who was just a little bit thinner. I'm still not skinny. I'm still a very thick girl, but the world definitely views me as different. And navigating myself into this and, you know, having to talk to people, it was weird. And I dealt with some major anxiety after I lost weight. But more than anything, I want to learn more about myself and document this last chapter. And so this is not just how to lose weight. This is lose weight with me. Because I want to go on this journey with as many people as I can. Because I know that having a support group is just as good as doing it by myself. I did it by myself the first time around, but I don't want to do it by myself anymore. I want people to hold me accountable. I want people to say when I step on that scale and I gained a pound, well, not a pound, because that is normal. But when I gain like 10 pounds, Haley, really? Girl, really? Stop eating. I want people to hold me accountable, just like I want to help other people too. I've done it before and I know I can do it again. But I definitely want to help people this time around. And so I'm just going to be making videos on this channel here and there, everywhere, about what to eat, what I have been eating, what to do for exercises, what I did in the first place and what I'm doing now, because it is a little different this time around. The first time around, it was easier to lose weight. This time around, it's actually not as easy. I've done it over and over again. I've been on that yo-yo fixture, but not anymore. It ends today. So I can't wait to get started on this journey and have people involved in it with me. Unlike the last time when I did it alone, this time I want to do it with others. And so just thank you for watching this video. I will definitely be posting not only on a weekly basis. I'll be posting a few videos a week because I want to keep myself accountable, and I just really want to document this journey because I know it's going to be a great journey and it's going to be fun. And like I said before, thank you for watching this video, and I will definitely have way more tips, but I just wanted to get to know me and get to know what I had struggled with through my life so you understand where I'm coming from with all my tips. And yeah, this is gonna be great. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope that you come back to check me out.